Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the first technical session of the day on the sub-theme, Digital Inclusion, a Catalyst for Corporate Innovation and Social Progress. Let us now invite our learned panelist, Dr. Rajiv Mani, Additional Secretary, Department of Legal Affairs, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India; Dr. C.S. Mohapatra, IES retired, IEPF Chair Professor, National Council of Applied Economic Research, NCAER; Sri Yaduvendra Mathur, IAS retired, former Secretary, Niti Aayog; and our moderator, C.S. Praveen Soni, Council Member, and C.S. Mohan Kumar A, Council Member. Request you all to kindly come out to the dais. Let's have a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The first technical session on the sub-theme, Digital Inclusion, a Catalyst for Corporate Innovation and Social Progress. Thank you, sirs.
I now request C.S. Praveen Soni to please welcome our guest, Dr. Rajiv Mani, Additional Secretary, Department of Legal Affairs, Ministry of Law and Justice, Government of India, by presenting him a planter.
Dr. Mani is an officer of the Indian Legal Service. He is a group head looking after advisory work of various ministries of the Government of India. He is closely associated in carrying forward the legislative initiatives of strengthening the ease of doing business environment, promoting institutional arbitration, and developing an area ecosystem that facilitates easy resolution of disputes through minimal court intervention. He is also a member of the Governing Board, IBBI, and Additional Secretary in charge of the Law Commission of India.
I now request Mr. C.S. Mohan Kumar A to please welcome our guest, Dr. C.S. Mohapatra, IES retired, IEPFA Chairperson, and National Council of Applied Economic Research, by presenting him a planter, please. I'm fumbling.
Dr. Mohapatra retired as a principal advisor in the rank of Secretary to the Government of India. He's an expert in financial sector development and reforms, economic administration, planning and policy, with a 36-year-long career in Government of India, where he served in several senior positions in the Ministry of Finance.
I now request C.S. NPS Chawla please to come on the dais and welcome our guest, Sri Yaduvendra Mathur, IAS retired, former Secretary, Niti Aayog, by presenting him a planter.
Sri Mathur retired from the rank of Secretary to the Government of India in 2019. He has 40 years of experience of development and institutional finance at senior-most policy-making levels in India and international business. He was CMD of Export-Import Bank of India 2014-17 and was Secretary to the Government of India at Niti Aayog during 2017-19. In March 2020, he was appointed by the Government of India Ministry of Power as coordinator of Africa International Solar Alliance. He has a bachelor's degree in economics and an MBA in finance. Let us now request C.S. Praveen Soni, moderator for the session, to please take the session ahead. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, respected panelists, my council colleague Mohan Bhai, President of the dais, Program Director Shuklaji, all council colleagues, respected friends, professionals, ladies and gentlemen. We are slightly delayed with the session, but yes, we have a good amount of participation there. And to all the participants, those who are listening and viewing this program on a virtual basis. This session is on the digital inclusion. So we are just trying to have the impact and the benefit and analysis for the digital inclusions in the Government of India with the public as in participation. In our increasingly interconnected world, the digital divide separates the haves from the have-not. Digital inclusion is powerful catalyst, corporate innovations, and social progress. In the business landscape, embracing digital inclusion enables companies to tap into talent pool, fostering diversity and fresh perspective. Moreover, inclusion practices led to the development of products and services that cater to a broader range of consumers, enhancing competitiveness and fostering innovations. Government of India has also launched the Digital India program with the vision of transforming India into a digital empowering society and knowledge-based economy by ensuring digital access, digital inclusions, and digital empowerment and bringing the digital divide. Under the Digital India initiative, the government has undertaken a range of activities and initiatives to initiate digitally transform the nation and improve the governance services and connectivity. Some of the key initiatives of the Digital India includes the Aadhaar, BHIM, DigiLocker, UPI, DigiYatra, MyGov, and the Umang. These are the initiatives by the Government of India. And friends, we'll be happy to know that the Arogya Setu initiative was one of the biggest challenging role which has played during the COVID vaccination time. And around 114 million users have downloaded this application. And yes, more than two-thirds of the people have used this, the surrounding, finding the people, those who are infected with the COVID applications. So this is the world's the #1 contact tracing application which has been successfully implemented by the Government of India. Digital inclusion is again a multifaceted endeavor and corporate plays a pivotal role by investing in the initiatives that promote digital inclusions both locally and globally. As a digital transformation led to the innovation, we can say that the help of these new digital initiatives, technologies, existing business problems can be solved easily, and the use of this technology can be also be improved. It can also help the organization to stay relevant and competitive. We have seen that every sector of economy is shifting from the traditional method working to the digital. And just take an example of banking sector. The banking sector adopted the various digital tools and techniques in order to provide a comfort and secure environment to the customers. We have recently seen that one of the Golgappa vendor who was generally used to take payment in cash, and now when he is accepting payment into digital mode through UPI, he need not to make his hands free for collecting cash and need not to waste his time. And because of the digital innovation, he keeps serving to his customer and is collecting the payments from digital system only, and he is just hearing, yes, my payment has been received. So this has improved his efficiency and sales also. So this way the digital transformation has improved and associated the people into the business improvement. Friends, due to these innovative developments in the government ecosystem, the digital technologies, the role of company secretaries also witnessing a major transformation, and it is certain that future scenario will be much different from now. The world is focusing on automation, and therefore the company secretaries need to combine their digital skills with the existing skill sets. By bringing technology to the grassroots level, professionals can bring the digital divide. Company secretaries have responsibility to campaign the digital inclusions, advocate for equal access to the technology, and collaborate towards building an inclusive digital that leaves no one behind. For this panel, an apt theme have been chosen, the digital inclusions, a catalyst for corporate innovations and the social progress. We have the kind presence of 3 eminent speakers with us today to guide us about the significance of digital inclusion of the society as well as the economy. The initiatives of government for making the lives of people better and prosperous, and using the digital inclusions and the opportunity challenges associated with the inclusions. In the ICSA also, friends, we have taken up the digital inclusions and Kranti, while e-agenda management system we have adopted, whereby the agendas are being circulated through e-system. We are avoiding the printing of hard copies and bookish agendas. Then digital evolution of mark sheets recently innovated, and the brainchild of President Manish Gupta ji, and now mark sheets are being evaluated on digitally basis. It is circulated to the examiners on digitally, and we are reducing time and cost and efforts also. Again, DigiLocker is there, a Government of India initiative, but yes, our institute's identity card, mark sheets, all are available on the DigiLocker systems. And similarly, the placement portal launched in 2019, as well as the Geo portal systems. So these are the initiatives from the ICSA also on the digital initiatives. Yes, we are working on the same. President ICSA is the chairman for the IT committee also, and we have thoughts and we have highly initiative ideas which are going to implement. With this note, we'll start with our session, and will the panel, esteemed panelists, and we'll go up with the question answers. Over to you, my council colleague Mohan Bhai. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen Bhai. Good evening to all the distinguished participants. Because of time constraints, we are directly getting into the panel discussion. My first question is to Dr. Rajiv. Sir, government has taken a lot of initiatives like Aadhaar, BHIM, UPI, DigiLocker, etc. And how do you assess the progress on digital inclusion initiatives so far, sir?
Thank you very much. And I take this opportunity to congratulate the ICSI management, its president, and all the office bearers for organizing this very topical conference on the subject of digital inclusion, which is so important for everyone, and particularly for the profession of company secretaries. As far as your question is concerned regarding the digital inclusion vision of the Government of India is very clear. It starts right from the Antyodaya class to the billionaire club. The mention of Aadhaar, as was made by Sri Praveen Soni ji, nearly 130 crore Indians have this digital identity, which is one of the largest digital identity projects in the world. So we are in fact the leaders in that. Along with that, the JAM Trinity, that is the Jan Dhan bank accounts, the Aadhaar card and the mobile, it has provided a big platform for digital inclusion of those marginalized sections of the society who could never actually get the benefits which the government has earmarked for them. And particularly in the monitoring of the social welfare schemes, whether it is the DBT or other subsidies which are to be allotted to the concerned sections of the population, their effective monitoring and mapping it with the correct identity of the person who is the recipient of that benefit has all been possible because of this big digital inclusion steps which has been taken by the Government of India over a period of time. And not only that, this is with regard to the various welfare measures, but on the economic front, the digital economy is set to rise to almost $1 trillion by the year 25-26. And that shows the power of technology and particularly the use of digital tools in our governance, which has actually amplified the scope for innovation in our country. As we know that India is the third highest innovation nation in this world after US and China. And our innovation has been further boosted by the efforts to increase digital inclusion at a mass scale. So I think the various measures which have been taken right from the common man, from the marginalized sections to the top club of the country, to include everyone in this revolution of digital inclusion has done wonders. And this is just the beginning. There is still a lot of way to be covered, and there is, I think, a great scope for India becoming one of the digital leaders in the world, overtaking both China and USA in the long run. This is my preliminary views on the question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I mean, most of the company secretaries are supporting the businesses, corporates, either as employed company secretaries or practicing company secretaries. So, how can the businesses collaborate with the government to advance digital inclusion?
I think the profession of company secretary has got very huge responsibilities vested on its shoulders. The successful running of the company, the governance aspect of the whole corporate governance of the company basically rests on the shoulders of the company secretary. He is to ensure the legal and the other compliances which are necessary for the successful run of the company. And with the digital inclusion, I think one of the most important factors which I think all the corporates also need to hear it loud and clear, that there is a need for having a clear risk management, and it about the various cyber security measures, whether it is the digital inclusion and to protect the data, particularly with regard to the DPDP Act becoming a law in August 23 this year. So the company secretaries need to digitalize their all compliances In fact, I may share you a very leading phenomenon which has happened with us in the Ministry of Law and Justice. We created a web application by the name of LIMS, Legal Management and Litigation Management and Briefing System. And that has actually helped us map all the cases wherein the government is one of the litigant. As we all know, there are almost 5 crore cases which are pending before various courts and tribunals in the country as on date. And a majority of them the government is the litigant. Of course, government includes not only central government, state government, but all the instrumentality agencies of the government, so that figure goes high in that context. And, but a major portion of that also is criminal cases. Now we have been able to map more than 10 lakh cases wherein the Union of India, that is the central government, and the central government is one of the litigants. And as a result, we have been able to ensure that the monitoring of the litigation at our level, at the level of the government, is done effectively in a proactive manner, and no case is left out. And in fact, when we digitize the whole setup with permission of API linkages with the various district courts, high courts, and now we have got the API linkage with the Honorable Supreme Court also. So all the orders which are passed by the various courts, they are easily available through the API on our portal. And we can, each of the secretaries of the Government of India is empowered through his nodal officers. They all have access to it. They can earmark, the important cases which from their perspective are, necessary to be monitored effectively. The contempt cases can be monitored. The high pecuniary value cases can be monitored. And so much, data, visibility is there. Earlier, which was totally absent, and we had to rely on simply paper files. Now, this analysis of the data which has been made possible in the government sector, I think can be more effectively utilized also by the private sector, wherein the private governance can effectively create digital platforms for ensuring all the legal and other compliances which the company secretary has to ensure, and that can effectively underscore the point that these compliances will never be missed off, and the transparency of the whole mechanism would be ensured. So I think there is enough scope for digital inclusion of the corporates, and the corporate, in fact, at the board level has to realize that the digital data, because being data fiduciary, they also have very onerous responsibilities on their shoulder, and that responsibility should ideally not be left to any other officer, but should be catered at the board and the highest level of the management. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mani. Mr. Mohapatra, I would like to come to your question regarding the cyber threat to the security which we are facing nowadays. And the cyber security has become a challenging task, be it for the corporates or be it for the government. So nowadays, more than millions of cyber breach incidents are reported on a daily basis. And cyber security threats can cost to the organization in India, which generally it's accounted to $10 million. So understandably, there is a huge gap between the digital literacy and consumer awareness rights. What measures do you suggest for envisaging the safe digital space for the corporates as well as the government?
Good evening. I think I must congratulate Manish for leading the entire team so beautifully, and thanks for the patience of all the listeners who are waiting till the last to hear the first session. So now coming to cyber security, it's a very important topic, and I have been secretary to the Financial Stability Development Council, where I was additional secretary in Department of Economic Affairs. That time I was closely in touch with CERTAIN. All of you must know the Computer Emergency Response Team of MeitY. So what I immediately felt was I was coordinating between SEBI, IRDA, PFRDA, and all other financial sector regulators, and implementing policies and financial reforms for 1.5 decades, 15 years, from 2007 till 2021. Then I went on to head the GST Council Secretariat. All along I have felt that the way we are progressing in digitalization, along with the benefits that have been talked about from morning to evening, there are challenges, and challenges are even equally dangerous and bigger than the benefits, and the benefits in no time can turn to be a disadvantageous position, because the way it percolates to give the benefits, the same way it percolates to create a challenge. it doesn't take time. I have seen the data theft happening. I have observed many failures, cyber threats that is happening in the country. So the first step which we did was, I remember around 2016-17 budget announcement, we said that for financial sector, we should also have a CertFin. So we created CertFin, and today I'm happy to say that it is being implemented and it's in MeitY. All the financial sector information is coming in a more dedicated manner, and we are able to reach out to the financial sector regulators and try to monitor the threats. But I must say that these things are actually drop in an ocean. If we have to meet the challenge of cybersecurity threats, then it is not only India, but the entire globe is at it. We are still struggling with the manner, with the regulations, with the act and the rules that we frame. How do we keep in touch and keep control and be ahead of those cybersecurity issues that we face? For that, it is not only the government, but also the companies and people themselves, because God helps themselves who help themselves first. So I have seen people, despite all, I have observed in the capital market, wherever you talk about investment, there is a lack of trust, and people are afraid of investing much because they don't know what is going to happen. And today, the digital literacy level, though we claim that literacy level has increased, but in fact, applicability of the literacy level and trying to implement it to your benefit, that gap is too high. We do not know how to really monitor, how to really meet the challenges that we face. Most of the people who have bank accounts do not know how much of money are safe and where the money will go and how quickly they should be reporting to the authorities, and also whether they should not be sharing the OTP, not be sharing the passwords. Today also we see, I've seen in the government, when we do cyber audit, we find a lot of laxity that is still prevalent. We know that we need to take care, strong passwords, and also strong digital literacy levels at an implementation level is very much required. And as the companies innovate, it is very necessary for them to have a high level of digitalization, not only because they need to make their comfort level high, or as Amit told us, that it is beneficial for the company, but it is a part of their strategic thinking for a long term. They need to have the information about their customers, about the stakeholders on their fingertips, and they have to innovate and be ahead, for which digitalization helps a lot. And while doing that, they must be equally clear about what all cybersecurity measures they are taking. We don't talk about cyber hygiene. We don't talk about cyber insurance. We don't even follow what is happening globally in terms of cybersecurity threats. We need to have more and more awareness of cybersecurity threats as much as we talk about digitalization. This is my initial feeling.
So prevention is better than cure. You need to spend more on the cyber security. And again, cyber insurance, our new term which you just tell, I think this is one more required. Mohapatra ji, I'll come on the question to you. Thereafter, Mr. Mathur, I want to take your view also on the same question. This is like, this is for the users of digital area by the company secretaries. When professional like company secretaries have plethora of opportunities coming on their way, such as representing to the board or consultancy services and all that, what skills or strategies are required by the professional to bring innovations in the boardroom as well as the day-to-day work? Mr. Mohapatra.
Okay, let Jadwendra start. No, basically, company secretaries are really the single-handed think tank of the company, I would say. When the board is busy in trying to see how long-term growth will be impacted, how profit will be impacted, it is the company secretary who not only tries to keep a check in terms of the compliance, which is the first level operation of all company secretaries that you are all very much aware, but they have to have a long-term vision in terms of the regulatory regime. And today the regulatory regime changes very fast. And as I just mentioned about cyber security, there are many areas where we keep on changing the rules and regulations in a dynamic scenario. As and when the new issues come up, we keep responding to them. I remember I organized a workshop on data protection bill and how it is going to help investor protection. So the Data Protection Act the Data Protection Act has so many clauses where the company can really take care and also can make its data safe and have a more responsible behavior, as also more helpful behavior for the stakeholders, and not do what is contrary to law. And for that, it is the company secretary which has to keep a tab in terms of the regulatory regime of the country. It has to keep in touch with the nuances, the customer-centric views that is happening, the new range of customers there that are coming, and the competition that is ahead of the company. All those things have to be taken care by the company secretary. Above everything, I always will point at one thing, that the ethical responsibility, the moral responsibility, and the integrity of the company secretary, that really makes a company. That really takes the company so far as you see the successful companies are.
Thank you. Mr. Mathur, your views on that, and now he come out with the ethical and responsibility for the company secretaries. So your views on this question, please. Yes, same issue. What innovative ideas company secretaries can employ to have the better use of digital transformations?
Okay, so good evening, and good evening. I'd begin by thanking Mr. Gupta, Manish Gupta, but also like to stretch out my arms in greetings to past President Mr. Nisar Ahmed, with whom I first attended a company secretary program long time ago. You know, so I've been on the boards of companies for a long time, you know, been in the government, and I've been a director also. So what the larger discussion is today about the company in the convention, about ethical issues, and you know, a lot of water has flown since morning. तो मैं वो रिपीट नहीं करना चाहता हूँ. 2-3 चीज़ कहना चाहता हूँ. एक तो द करेज कि अपनी बात रखने का कॉन्फिडेंस जो कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज में होना चाहिए, वो वही कॉन्फिडेंस है जो आईएएस में जब हम पास आउट कर रहे थे मसूरी से, तो हमको कहा गया था कि यू विल रीड द कोटेशन ऑफ सरदार पटेल, जो मसूरी की जो हम लोग की एकेडमी है, लाल बहादुर शास्त्री, वहाँ पे सरदार पटेल के बस्ट के नीचे लिखा है, जो वो डिबेट्स हुई थी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली की, और उसका एक एक्सट्रैक्ट है, यू विल नॉट हैव अ फ्री एंड फेयर, यू विल नॉट हैव अ फ्री एंड इंडिपेंडेंट इंडिया if you do not have a civil service with the freedom to speak out its mind, the freedom to speak out its mind. So जो मैं बात कहना चाह रहा हूँ, the point I'm trying to make is the IAS, IPS and some services are constitutional services. The company secretary is also a creation by the law, by the parliament. It's a high standing degree, that certification you get. Use that, value that. As a company secretary, आप अपनी बात रखिए. मतलब बट मैंने जो एक्सपीरियंस देखा है, कंपनी सेक्रेटरी साहिबान कभी कभी मैनेजमेंट के सामने अपनी बात नहीं रख पाते. यही होता है हम लोग के साथ आईएएस में कि हम मंत्री जी के सामने अपनी बात एक तरह से कहते हैं लोग कि रख नहीं पाते. मैं डिसएग्री करता हूँ. आप किसी भी पद पे रहें, आप अपनी बात रिकॉर्ड करिए, लिखिए, पुट अ पेपर, टेबल इट. अगर आप बोल नहीं पा रहे हैं तो एज कंपनी सेक्रेटरी एक अपना व्यू, एक अपना ओपिनियन बनाइए, जाके एमडी को दे दीजिए. अब इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर्स आ गए, हम लोग ने चर्चा नहीं करी है. आई एम एन इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर ऑन 3 लिस्टेड कंपनीज एंड अबाउट 5 अदर अनलिस्टेड कंपनीज. तो मैं इस समय पोस्ट रिटायरमेंट आई एम ऑन 8 कंपनीज एंड आई एम सीइंग द कंडक्ट ऑफ द कंपनी सेक्रेटरी. आई एम एन इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर. इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर्स के ऊपर इतनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आ रही हैं कि आने वाले टाइम में, ओनली येस्टरडे डे बिफोर, रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया ने इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर्स के ऊपर वापस से एक सर्कुलर जारी हुआ है. सो प्लीज कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज बी केयरफुल. इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर्स विल मेक योर लाइफ मिजरेबल. द इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर्स विल स्टार्ट आस्किंग इन द बोर्ड क्वेश्चंस फॉर विच द कंपनी सेक्रेटरी शुड नॉट कट अ सॉरी फिगर. ही और शी मस्ट ensure that the management is fully prepared with all options. It is not compliance only of Companies Act or with legal SEBI. What about the independent directors? They will now ask questions. You know, I could resign from any of the companies as an independent director and bring on record what all happened in the board meeting. I'm sure the listing or the stock price will fall that day. So you have to see the power that you have to see that corporate wealth is enhanced, good governance delivers on the agenda. We have been talking about it. So that was one comment, but that ethicality will really come if the company secretary can be like a doctor. Doctor prescription likhta hai, aap dawai mat khaiye, so it's your problem. But the doctor has done his job. The company secretary should do his or her job. And that is where I think the promoter, अभी पहले वो अमित जैन बहुत अच्छी बात कह रहा था कि उसको पता ही नहीं था उसके टाइम. So as company secretaries, you have to be very skilled people. Your skill sets have to really go up. You know, if there are 70,000 students doing company secretary, how many? More like 2 lakh students are doing company secretaryship. Are there so many companies opening every year or every second year? So company secretaries का profession जो है उसमें जब तक you will, if you don't bring that needed skills, that needed attitude, and they have to convert. So I know I am on a company where our CEO is a company secretary, but he's an IT wizard. He has, it's an NBFC, he has written the entire loan origination software. He is a company secretary. So company secretaries के skills की कोई limit नहीं है. Please ensure from the institute that you are skilling your students, because the world out there is really asking you to deliver, you know, bright students. आप IIM Ahmedabad के टक्कर का एक syllabus बनाइए. So your company secretary children should be able to compete. Teach him about project management. I was telling Mr. Govil during the intersession, somebody was there. Please, you see a project manager का एक act आने वाला है. Just like the chartered accountants का act आया है, company secretaries का act आ गया, अब project managers का act आ रहा है. The moment that act is passed, you will have project managers institute. They will produce project managers and they will be recruited by companies. So before the project managers act comes, you as company secretaries should move into that gap very quickly. Start teaching them project management. So beat the chartered accountants. Let me tell you, I qualified the IAS with commerce and accounts. So I'm not a BCom or a company secretary. But accounts का profession ज़्यादा powerful हो गया है. वो chartered accountants आप कुछ कह देंगे तो बैंक भी मान जाएगा, सब मानेंगे. Company secretary की बात कोई नहीं मानता. Company secretary को हमको equip करना पड़ेगा कि he should be the whistleblower. An empowered company secretary is what the country needs, both for corporate innovation as well as for social progress.
Thank you, Mr. Mathur, for your open views. I'd like to defer you and need to convey you that when you communicated that the company, these independent directors are going to make the life of company secretary miserable. But the thing is that in corporate, I have spent my last 17, 18 years in the corporates only, and the moment the independent directors become the real independent, the company secretary start enjoying the life. Because there is someone at least who is in the board who is asking openly questions to the company secretary, and there he'll use his own strength and professional caliber. If you are in a promoter managed company, he is always at the mercy of the promoter because he is the person signing his ETC or the approvals and the renewals or the bonuses.
But now independent directors के ऊपर बहुत responsibility आ रही है. So वो जो पहले जो चमचे type independent directors थे वो जेल जाएंगे.
So that's the thing actually
so
the government
directors आने चाहिए.
Sir, that's the demand of the corporate, sir. That's the demand of the corporate. And if the independent become the real independent, the company secretary will definitely be shows all feathers and all attitudes and all the qualities that you are looking for them. Thank you. Over to Mohan Bhai.
Sir, what role do you think artificial intelligence will play in the corporate innovation and social progress? How do you see this as an opportunity for Indian corporates towards meeting their sustainability goals? Yeah, I mean, you can, for you and for others.
Yes, so, you know, in Niti Aayog, I was a part of the team. We wrote the AI for All. I don't know how many of you read. AI for All is the national document that was first released by Niti Aayog. And the Prime Minister's vision was that artificial intelligence has to deliver for the common man. So that is like one key thing all corporates at least at the Government of India level, AI is for the common man. The other comment I have is we talk about digital inclusion, but actually, 42% of India only uses internet. 58% don't have internet. Rural, we may say digital inclusion, but rural areas they don't have a smartphone. Even if they have a smartphone, they don't have the skills to use it. Even if they have the skills to use it, it is not in a local language. So we have to be aware as company secretaries. We talk about big things like AI and machine learning, but is it impacting the common man? What we should take back from the convention is the company delivering a product and service वो common man के लिए कर रही है, or is it doing for a niche customer? My sense is not many company secretaries are working for the so-called direct grassroots level companies. Start working with grassroots companies. There's so much of data there that can lend itself to AI and things. Let's say agriculture. If we are able to capture grassroots data about what crops are grown, about what is happening in the villages, hotspots are not there in the villages. We talk about IT, we talk about digital inclusion sitting in Varanasi. But God bless this country, the Bharat Net project did not deliver. You see, we have only 30,000 hotspots. We should have had 20 lakh hotspots. So the point is, it is good to talk about digital inclusion and then machine learning and AI. A lot of AI machine learning is being done by Rolls-Royce for perfecting their engines by having large AI teams working in Bangalore. They are working on AI, but they are perfecting the Rolls-Royce engine. They are not perfecting it for the common man. I want to know कि किस district में राजस्थान के garlic has been oversown. Farmers क्या करते हैं? They all over, but there is no way to track out कि ये कौन सी crop उगा रहा है. So we want AI which carries large data, but from the common man, not only through the banking use of apps. So AI and company secretaries का एक role हो सकता है. Please pick up those activities where data is generated from the rural areas. A lot of urban data is being picked up. So that was my short point. Okay. I know what to go.
Another question, related question to Dr. Rajiv. Sir, is there any areas in which AI is already used by Government of India? We just want to know. Also, how can corporates use AI better in your view?
Yes, I think the government is very much, alive to the use of AI. While I was coming to Varanasi, I thought I will have an overnight journey. And when you go to IRCTC website, immediately the Disha, chatbot would appear, and so many things. It's so easy to book a ticket, and it answers so many of your questions. Even by the voice command, you can now book a ticket. Similarly, the use of, in our context, the translation of judgments, the National Language Mission, which the Honorable Prime Minister has launched. So now Supreme Court judgments are also available, in 4 or 5 regional languages, and they are going to be in all the languages which are there in the 8th schedule shortly. So this is all because of the use of AI. Now the issue, and of course, as what Mathurji mentioned, that the AI has a tremendous potential of its use in the field of agriculture, in the field of climate change, in the cropping patterns, in the field of irrigation, in the field of health, contract tracing, and so many things like we had the benefit of, during the COVID times, how the technology has helped us in containing and winning this pandemic. And similarly, the concept of smart cities. So all these smart cities are operating on a platform whereby the best practices can be emulated, and the smart city mission is being strengthened. So there are numerous areas already where the government is using AI, and there are numerous areas which are still open for the use of AI. But as we all know that these technologies, whether it is the old age technology of the wheel or the fire or the present age modern ICT technologies, they are all double-edged swords. So we should be very careful And as the previous speaker had mentioned about the chatbot, about how it can actually impact without you knowing that it is totally giving something wrong assessment based on the same similar facts, which actually, so the issue of ethical AI also comes into being. And I think the judgment of the human mind is what is sought to be replaced by the AI. So that should be done very diligently, cautiously, and in sectors which I think are can actually be benefited rather than just for the sake of use of technology. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mani, I just wanted to have your views on one question. Mr. Mathur has already spoken. Then I'll come to you, Mr. Mohapatra, also on the same question. What are your expectations from the professional institutions like ICSI for capacity building for its members and students to take up their role in the digital education and using the digital technology as a catalyst for social innovation?
See, Mathurji has very rightly laid down the role and functions of the company secretaries. And I think the role and function of an independent director or a company secretary is something which is very akin to what we have heard in our scriptures, wherein it is mentioned that, Sachiv Vaid Guru Teen Jo Priya Bole Hi Bhayas, Raj Dharm Tan Teen Ikar Hoi Begahi Nas. तो आपका तो मोटो यही है सत्यम वदम धर्मम चर. तो company secretary actually is the sole keeper of the company, and of course he may be an employee of the company, but his responsibility is something which is akin to an independent position. He has to actually brief the company independently. As far as the issue of digital inclusion is there, or the digital tools is there, I think now if the companies do not follow the digital protocol, they are going to be repository of very huge data. And the risk which the company it entails if the data is breached is phenomenal. It will not only lead to loss of your reputation, but also to the loss of your business in that sense. So I think the company secretary at that level needs to be, the capacity building is to be not only in the main domain of law and company affairs to which it is responsible, but also in the use of technology, and the use of technology diligently and with an interest to protect the main purpose. Now, of course, the CSR, corporate social responsibility, is there, provision is there for all the companies, and they're spending a lot of money in that account. So I think if it all can be done independently at the level of the board and with catering to the, sectors which the government has prioritized. The Companies Act, in fact, has been amended to include more areas for that. I think that is something where the company secretary, the private sector, and the government can actually do some beautiful and meaningful work for the benefit of the masses at large.
Correct. Mr. Mohapatra, your views on how ICSI can bring the digital education and technology uses to catalyze the social innovation would be the last question. Thereafter, I'll give it to Mohan Bhai for concluding remarks.
Okay. See, digital inclusion is a thing which talks about inclusivity, and inclusivity is always welcome. If there is a problem in terms of ourselves or we as a team, as India have not achieved the level that Yaduvendra would like to have or I would like to have today, it is our deficiency which we should try to fill it up. Because digital inclusion per se is about including everybody, like our Honorable Prime Minister talks about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and followed by that Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas. So I would say that Vishwas, the confidence building amongst the companies, amongst the stakeholders, amongst general public has to be there in what we use. Today, when the person deposits his money in the bank, he should be very confident that there is no cyber threat into it, and his money is not going to vanish the next day. If he is investing in the share market, I have been involved starting from Lehman Brothers 2007 till today, and I know how the market is, and I know why people do not invest. It is again a lack of confidence, maybe complexities and things like that which makes them to stay away from profitable investments and innovations. So it is our duty to make it simple, to have that confidence building, for which we have to do that prayas which all of us know that we have to do that effort, and we are nowhere near doing that effort in the entire country. It has to be a really revolutionary movement. I fully agree with Yaduvendra that we have a long way to go, and there are so many concepts to be understood by the old company secretaries, those who have already passed, and the new company secretaries who are coming up. I would expect that the standards should be set so high that they should be able to not only compete, also help companies innovate, help government in terms of advising the government. We have had so many consultative meetings on which I have called ICSI, ICAI and the market people to learn from them about the market. So a time should come where people to get ideas about how to improve the corporate world, they should invite the company secretaries and the students and try to learn from them. And it will happen only when they stay ahead. They should disseminate information to the public. The training and awareness and certification should be in a much more larger scale than what we have today. I always felt that the financial sector lacks, very strongly it lacks high degree of certification, and the number of certified personnel is much less than we would like it to be. And it is that same issue which is coming up in the cyber security area also. Maybe today we do not have so many ethical hackers as well as people who can easily identify the cyber threats, which will take us at least not only in India but at a global level, at a higher level. And we are already rising high in the minds of the rest of the globe. If we really work on this, if we work on our cyber security field, as also in our company secretary ethical standards, as well as the standards per se in terms of having a handy way of managing the digitalized world which they face, which the companies face, we will even grow bigger in the world eyes, not only benefit India but the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohapatra. Friends, due to repositive time and it's already delayed, and don't want to be a breaker between the dinner and the members and the cultural. So we do have to close the session. Thanks to my esteemed panelists, Mr. Mani, Mr. Mohapatra, Mr. Mathur for being there. Mohol Bhai, please provide the concluding remarks and thanks, please.
We sincerely thank the panelists. We had three extremely distinguished panelists, Dr. Rajiv, Dr. Mohapatra, and Mr. Mathur. I mean, you shared a lot of information through your experience, particularly the advantages of digital technologies for corporates as well as company secretaries, and how digital inclusion holds great potential for corporate innovation, and the interconnectedness of corporate innovation and its profound impact on social progress. We also discussed about various initiatives taken by the Government of India to bridge the digital divide for ensuring that everyone has equal access to education, employment, and essential services. The initiatives taken to digitally transform the nation, such as Digital India Initiative, Ease of Living, Ease of Doing Business, which will help India to take a considerable leap in its economic transformation story by transitioning from data-rich to data-intelligent economy. To conclude, we would like to say that digital inclusion is not just a social responsibility, but a catalyst for transformation. It is a force that can drive us to reach new heights in corporate innovation and create a more equitable, inclusive, and prosperous world for all. I once again thank, on behalf of ICSI, for your time and wonderful insights. Special thanks to our President Manish Bhai for conceptualizing to have such a wonderful program at the spiritual capital Varanasi. Thank you, Manish Bhai.
Thank you, sirs. Thank you, everyone, for bringing your expertise and experience around the table and engaging in such a fruitful, constructive, and open exchanges throughout the session. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I now request CS Praveen Soni, Council Member, CS Mohan Kumar A, Council Member, to facilitate the release of a publication at the hands of our learned panelists for the session. Also request CS Manish Gupta, President ICSI, to please join the dais for the release of a handbook on limited liability partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, this handbook on LLP is a comprehensive guide that equips the reader with the LLP Act 2008 and its rules. It dwells into crucial aspects like capital contribution, taxation, partners' rights and obligations, profit-sharing ratios, and decision-making processes with important case laws and practical examples. Ladies and gentlemen, releasing the handbook on limited liability partnership. Let's have a big round, ladies and gentlemen.
I now request CS Sandeep Kejriwal ji, Council Member ICSI, to please come on the dais and present a memento to our expert, Dr. Mani. I now request CS Amrita Nautiyal, former chairperson WIRC of ICSI, to please come on the dais and present a memento. Current chairperson WIRC, I stand corrected, to please present a memento to our learned panelist, Dr. Mohapatra. I now request CS Dinesh Gupta, former chairman, Jalandhar chapter, to please come on the dais and present a memento to our panelist, Sri Mathur. A big round of applause, please. Thank you, everyone. It has been a wonderful day. Thank you, all the dignitaries and the audience for a very wonderful day. This brings an end to the day one of the convention. We shall meet within 45 minutes for the cultural evening right here.